Happy New Year. For Telesur, I'm Sarah Begum in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin today in Brazil, where right now President Dilma Rousseff is being sworn in for her second term as head of state of Latin America's largest country. Dilma, as she is affectionately known to her supporters, has continued the progressive social programs of her predecessor Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, which have begun to turn Latin America's largest economy away from its past, marred by inequality and exclusion. On October 26, 2014, Dilma Rousseff, as candidate for the Workers' Party, was re-elected with 51.64% of the vote, 52 million votes more than her pro-market rival Aécio Neves, who received 48.36%. And this is happening right now. We move now to Venezuela, where the South American nation is assuming its position as a new member of the United Nations Security Council. Venezuela was elected to the international body in October of last year. The 193-member UN General Assembly elected Venezuela with 181 votes, more than the necessary two-thirds. The overwhelming support for Venezuela suggests a growing international hope to transform the international body into a more just and equal arbiter of global affairs.
United States.
And we move now to Mexico, where family members of the 43 abducted students from Ayotzinapa are continuing to protest the government's inability to provide answers regarding the whereabouts of their loved ones. Parents of the missing students left the state of Guerrero on Wednesday for a protest that will take place at the presidential residence in Mexico City. Those who are standing in solidarity with the disappeared youth have vowed to step up pressure in the new year until the missing students are found alive. And also in Mexico, people are commemorating 21 years since the Zapatista guerrilla uprising took the world by storm. After 2 decades of civil struggle, the demands of Zapatistas against free trade and for indigenous rights remain alive in Mexico. The uprising coincided with the implementation of the North American Free Trade Agreement, which, according to the rebels, meant the end to communal property and a reinstatement of neo-colonial economic relations. And another commemoration is taking place in Cuba, where residents are celebrating the 56th anniversary of the Cuban Revolution. On January 1, 1959, Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista fled Havana. The next day, the revolutionary forces of Fidel Castro and Che Guevara entered the capital, marking the decisive victory of the Cuban Revolution and changing the course of Latin American history for years to come. Despite a devastating blockade maintained against the Cuban people by the United States, the island has persevered, making huge strides in health care, education and employment. And in world news, public outrage in the US over police brutality has not ceased. Yesterday in Ferguson, over 75 protesters stormed the St. Louis Police Department, demanding officials be fired. Police responded by pepper spraying the demonstrators and arrested at least 25. The rally began as a peaceful march through the city's downtown area. The protesters then arrived at the police headquarters, where a scuffle broke out. Protests spread across the US in late November after a grand jury decided not to indict the white policeman who arbitrarily killed unarmed black teenager Michael Brown. In China, tragedy dampened New Year celebrations in Shanghai. At least 36 people died Wednesday after a stampede in the city's main square. 43 people were injured and taken to hospitals. They called the incident one of the worst disasters to hit the highly industrialized city in recent memory. Paramedics were seen on site attempting to revive victims, who are mainly students. Shanghai is the most populated city in the world, with well over 24 million inhabitants. And now to Israel, where Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been voted in as the head of the right-wing Likud party. He has now overcome his first hurdle toward winning a 4th term in office in a general election to be held in March. Israeli opinion polls put Likud slightly behind the left-wing off-center Labour Party, but surveys still give Netanyahu the largest number of potential allies in order to form a governing coalition, making his re-election seem more likely. And in neighbouring Israeli-occupied territories, the Palestinian Liberation Organization denounced Tel Aviv security forces for abducting almost 1,300 children under the age of 15 in 2014. PLO official Abdel Nasser Farawan said Israel is increasingly targeting Palestinian minors. He said children testified they had been subjected to various forms of torture, among other human rights violations. According to the PLO, 200 children arbitrarily remain in Israeli jails. And on a lighter note today, the world's fastest man revealed his New Year's resolution. Jamaican athlete Usain Bolt said he wants to become the first human in history to run 200 meters in 19 seconds. Breaking his own record, he ran that distance in 19.19 seconds in Berlin 5 years ago, shattering US Michael Johnson's mark of 19.26 seconds in 1996. The 28-year-old sprinter already holds eight world records, including 100 meters in 9.58 seconds. More on these and other stories on our website, telesortv.net/English. For Telesor English, I'm Sarah Begum. Have a good day.